Welcome back to another video, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alex, and today we are going to be talking about a Wolfman reboot, sort of, and it is called The Werewolf Reborn. Before we get into all that, though, I want to say thank you guys so much for all the recent support my channel has gotten. If you want to see more videos like these, please hit that like button. Hit subscribe. I bet a lot of you think you're already subscribed and you're not. So please just hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave a comment below. Let me know what your favorite werewolf movie of all time is. And I'll tell you why you're wrong if it isn't the Wolfman. Guys, there's a Wolfman coming out January 17th, 2025. If you aren't aware, the original Wolfman, 1941, that's my favorite movie ever of all time forever. Okay? And unlike a lot of the other famous monster movies, the Wolfman specifically doesn't get a lot of remakes and reboots and stuff because that character and that story and whatever, it's not public domain like Frankenstein and Dracula, whatever, right? It was remade once before in 2010, and that movie is very divisive. That's not what we are going to talk about. We're also not really going to talk about this new one coming out on the 17th of January 2025 that I'm kind of nervous about. Instead, we're going to talk about a movie that was sort of a reboot of the Wolfman. It's part of the Filmonsters series. I've done a video on the other Filmonsters movie, Frankenstein Reborn. There'll be a title card at the end of the video, so stick around for the end. You can watch that one to catch up on their version of Frankenstein, I guess. But and this one is sort of like, it's got a lot of inspiration from the Wolfman, so I'm going to count it as a Wolfman reboot of sorts. And I just want to talk about it. I think it's kind of fun. It's kind of silly. It's kind of stupid. It's very shitty, low quality. Not as good as Werewolf of Fever Swamp. I'm not talking it up very well. But now let's talk about The Werewolf Reborn. So the movie has the same intro as Frankenstein Reborn. Again, watch that video after this one if you want a full rundown on my thoughts about Mr. Puppet Master over here with all his little goons, just kind of gooning around. We then open on some villagers just kind of like fucking around in the woods. They got their torches and pitchforks, and they're just like waiting for a motherfucker. They're just like wishing that somebody would fucking do something, dude. And some other guy in the woods fucking blows his whistle because he found a guy, but not just any guy, it's a dead guy. He found a dead guy. So what do these guys do? They run over there all fucking pissed off, and they're like, we're gonna find out who killed this motherfucker. We're gonna get the son of a bitch. And you know who the son of a bitch was? It was the sick ass werewolf standing on the hill doing his own fucking shit. Look at him, dude. He's fucking going for it. And he's got this sick ass howl. It's very reminiscent of like American Werewolf in London kind of howl. We then meet the main character of the movie, Eleanor. She has come to this vaguely Eastern European country in order to stay with her uncle, but the first person she runs into after arriving is sort of a dick to her and doesn't really want to talk to her about her uncle. Do you guys think that this movie was made by the same people that did Frankenstein Reborn? Oh. They go back and forth, some hostility, some pettiness. She's kind of being a bitch. He's kind of being a dickhead. She's like, hey, can I just like fucking call a cab or whatever? And he's like, there is no cab here. We do not have cab in here. She's like, okay, can you tell me where my uncle's house is? And he explains how to get there. And he's like, but you should probably forego this whole hanging out with your uncle shit and just like get on a train and go on back where you came from, dude. And she's like, no thanks, Mr. Train Guy. I'm not gonna fucking do that bullshit. I'm gonna go see my uncle. On the way to her uncle's, she runs into a Romani boy and his grandma.
Hey, Mikuto! Don't be afraid. We won't hurt you.
I'm not afraid of you.
Are you scared? Are you scared? You shouldn't be manual scare tactics!
He flags her down and is like, hey, can you give your uncle this note? And she's like, why don't you give it to him yourself?
I don't think he would take it from us, because we're gypsies. Nobody likes us.
I'm sorry, I can't be perfect.
Why don't you come over here and give it to me yourself, if you want me to do you a favor? Or are you afraid?
Afraid of you? No, not of you.
Okay, so the Romani people, the guy who works at the train station, they're all like kind of scared of her uncle, or kind of like they don't like him very much. I wonder why that is. Is it because he could be a werewolf? Is he the werewolf? I don't know, dude. I'm not going to give you guys spoilers yet. Watch the video. Find out later in the video. I'm not the screenwriter, okay? I don't just tell people who the werewolf is like pretty much immediately with no subtlety, okay? That would be stupid. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make you watch this and find out with me later who the werewolf is. Spoiler alert, it's the uncle. So she arrives to her uncle's house, and it's a fucking mansion, dude. It's not a castle like in Frankenstein Reborn. It's a mansion this time. It's different. And good old Uncle Petey answers the door and is like, what the fuck you doing here, dude? I sent your dad a letter telling him that you were not to be fucking staying with me, dude. You better go the fuck home.
What the hell are you doing here? I wrote your father not to send you.
I'm sorry. The letter must have gotten lost in the mail. Speaking of mail, someone gave me this to give to you.
What is it?
It's a piece of paper, idiot. Look at it. They don't have paper in Eastern Europe. I'm Eastern European. I know they have paper over there. He rushes inside to read the letter, and his place is a fucking wreck, dude. There's like broken furniture everywhere, pictures hung all lopsided, broken blinds and shit. So, you know, ladies, he's probably single. Eleanor walks in after kind of an awkward pause, and she does so without an invite from her. So I can at least tell you guys that Eleanor is not a vampire. So if you were wondering if this was going to be like a underworld thing, there's going to be werewolves and vampires or like Twilight or something, it's not. She enters and he just like starts taking a sip out of this fucking crystal goblet, looking like he wants to be in the fucking Trans-Siberian Orchestra so bad, dude. Like so fucking bad, dude. He tells her it's impossible for her to stay with him, and she's like, why? You know, okay, I don't mean to be so like impolite, but since I got here, everyone's been so fucking impolite with me, dude. They've been all so rude to me. So like, what the fuck, Uncle Pete?
Me. So I figure, why bother?
You talk like your father. Sarcastic. It's not good for a girl.
Yeah, well, if I asked in a more girlish way, would you answer me?
With my mug on me. Oh, DD. Oh, what it is? Oh, DD. What it is?
He tells her, you know, it's not safe for you here because of all the murders. So, like, I'm going to take you back into town. We're going to find a phone over there, call your dad, get you sent back. I don't want to be responsible for your ass. I need you out of my luscious fucking flowing hair, dude.
Gunn. If I did not care about you, I would not care if you stayed.
Well, let's just hope you care enough to carry my bags. I had to lug them all the way out here.
Don't worry. I have no telephone, but I do have an automobile.
In town, Uncle Peter calls the conference center that her parents are at and is like, hey, I need to talk to Eleanor's mom or dad. They need to be waiting for her because she's going to come back on the train. And the person on the other end's like, I'm sorry. I can't disturb this conference so that these people can know that their daughter is no longer welcome in this foreign country and that she's coming back to them. I'm not going to be the dick who interrupts this whole fucking thing to tell them that. And it's kind of crazy how, like, if this took place like 10 years later, this whole thing would have been solved in 10 seconds with a fucking text message. It's nuts.
Hey guys, Sleepy Alex here. I'm here to talk to you guys about Dubby! Dubby's an energy drink powder that contains coffee fruit extract. And guys, let me tell you, I used to be a Red Bull guy, and occasionally I'll still get a canned energy drink here or there, right? But on the daily, when I want something that's not gonna make me crash in the middle of my work day, something that tastes really freaking good, I go for Dubby, okay? And recently I picked up this mystery flavor. The mystery is, why the fuck is it so good? So if you guys are looking for a new energy drink, you want something that's not gonna make you jitter, something that's not gonna make you crash later in the day, something that tastes good, go on over to w.gg and use coupon code POOPOOPeepee for 10% off, or click the link in the description below. Thanks, and let's get back to Werewolf Reborn.
The next train doesn't leave until the next day, so Peter decides that maybe they should find a place for her to stay in town.
No more trains till tomorrow noon.
Then we will find a place for you to stay in town.
Why in town?
Yes, Mr. Kranek. Why in town? Surely you have enough room for her since you dismissed all your servants.
Besides,
sir, you know that the inn has been closed since poor Soren was killed.
Dude, okay, if you know, or if you at least think that Peter is a werewolf, why are you being such a little cunt about this? Why aren't you just, like, offering that girl a place to stay in town, or figuring things out for her, instead of just, like, sending her to her uncle's house to put her in danger? What, to prove a point that you know he's a monster? Are you a dick? She's like, okay, fine, I'll just stay here at the station, I guess, until the next train comes. And then that dude's like, okay, fine, you can stay at my house. And it's like, dude, you should have just been offering that, like, this whole conversation. But I'm glad you're finally at that point. I'm glad you finally get it. But then Peter all of a sudden gets, like, butthurt, and he's like, no, it's fine. She can just stay with me at the mansion. And it's like, dude, after all that fucking shit, after all that fucking bitching about not wanting her there, fucking telling her, look, we're going back into town, sending you home, then being like, you're staying at the fucking inn, and being mad that some guy died there, so now she can't stay there. There's finally somebody who's like, okay, fine, you can spend the night at my house, and now you want to be like a petty dick because that guy, what, knows you're a werewolf? Like, you want to get her out of your luscious locks anyway, and you want to be able to just sulk around your mansion in your little fucking depressed Lestat fucking cosplay or whatever.
She's gonna stay at my house. She's gonna stay with me.
Bro, there's like 6 fucking people in this town or whatever. Like, there's no one even at the train station. Everybody here knows you're the werewolf, okay? Everybody knows there's a werewolf here, and they know it's you. So Peter takes Eleanor into a room in the mansion and is like, you can stay here, but no matter what you hear, even if you don't hear anything at all, no matter what's going on, you cannot leave this room at all, dude. You cannot leave it at all. And it's like, dude, at this point, after everybody freaking out, after you acting so weird, she's in a foreign country, she's kind of scared, she doesn't know what's going on. Like, just be honest with Eleanor, dude. Just be like, bro, I'm a werewolf. Okay, I need you to stay in this room all night. Don't open the fucking door. I don't want to accidentally eat you. Even if she doesn't believe you, she'll think you're so fucking weird that she won't want to leave the room anyway, dude. But later that night, he drinks from his chalice once more as he awaits the inevitable. Eleanor decides she doesn't want to be in that fucking room anymore, and she takes the door off the goddamn hinges to get out, dude. Even though he was like, you should not leave this room at all. But anyway, he begins transforming, and look how fucking sick this shot is. The werewolf runs out of the mansion as she starts coming down the stairs, and she looks everywhere for Peter, can't find him, but she finds that note from the Romani kid. She picks it up and starts reading it, and it's a poem. I think it's supposed to be like that poem from the Wolfman.
No steel shall stay, no door shall bar, when the full moon shows the mark of the star.
How does it go? Even a man who is pure in heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright.
No prayers save, no curses reprieve, a cursed death and none to grieve. 'Tis silver only, since the world began, can slay the wolf that walks like a man.
Green Lantern's light. Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
The village people are back and they're looking for that. I mean, a werewolf in the woods. We see the werewolf attacking a guy and his dog just like fucking bolts out of there, dude. And it's like, man's best friend, my ass, am I right? But in all seriousness, if I was that dog, I'd probably fucking run out of there too. Cause like, no point in us both fucking dying, dude. But as the werewolf's having his succulent Eastern European meal, he gets shot by a villager and runs off. The next morning, Eleanor is awoken by the sound of her uncle arriving back at the mansion. He stumbles inside, covered in fucking bullet holes and shit, and she watches in amazement as his wounds heal before her very eyes. Very fucking convenient, Peter. Waiting until you're home and in front of your niece to let your wounds heal, almost like you're a fucking pick-me, dude. He claims that he doesn't want to believe he's a werewolf because he was raised not to believe in such baloney, but, you know.
God help me, I believe.
What are you talking about?
We get a cool flashback scene of a werewolf fucking railing his ass on the desk, and he stabs that motherfucker with a silver knife, kills his ass. He then starts explaining to Eleanor that he doesn't want to believe what he saw that night, and then he finds out that like a woman was murdered the next night after he blacked out, so then he starts being like, ugh, you know? Typical werewolf movie kind of shit. But as he's detailing all this, the cops show up with a fucking like,
Aha! A confession! We got him, boys!
and he's like, you underestimate my power. The inspector tells him that, like, the only monsters he's ever seen are human monsters.
And you are one. Bars will hold you. Bullets will kill you. And a rope will hang you. Take him away.
Eleanor tells the inspector guy about how she saw Peter's wounds heal up, and he's like, yeah, right, kiddo. You just saw that shit on fucking TV or some bullshit. Book 'em, Dano. And they head to the station. Peter's thrown in a cell, and he's like, if you guys don't fucking listen to me, you are all gonna die. And the commissioner pulls a fucking Uno reverse and is like, no, you, dude. You first. You're gonna die first, because you're a murderer in jail. Eleanor and the inspector have another fucking argument about the bullet holes, and she's like, well, what's gonna happen to Peter? And he's like, I don't know, he'll either be sent to the loony bin or hanged. And then she pulls a fucking like, I know my rights moment, and asks if she's free to go, and he's like, yeah, whatever, bye. So she leaves. On her walk back to the mansion, the Romani boy runs into her and is like, hey, my grandma needs to talk to you. You need to come with me. So she goes with him to this like spooky ass cemetery where she sits down with his grandma, and he translates this whole thing about how the grandma's brother was the werewolf that Peter was attacked by, and that they used to keep him like chained up and fed him animals and shit to try to keep him away from people.
But one time he break a cage and he get this.
It's the whole scene's very reminiscent of that scene in The Wolfman when Maleva's like telling Larry about Bela and how he was the werewolf that bit him, and you know, yada yada. The whole it's because it's like a Wolfman reboot. You guys remember that from earlier when I was talking about that?
You understand?
Numai de argint.
Only silver kills the Wolfman.
He then hands her a gun and explains to her how she needs to like fucking shoot her uncle with these silver bullets, and she only has 3, so she better make it count. And she asks him to just like take her back to the police station. Eleanor then asks the inspector if she can speak to her uncle alone, and he's like, we're not supposed to do this, but whatever, have fun, talk to him. Peter then tells Eleanor this whole thing about how like he wants her to promise him that she'll tell his dad about how he's sorry that he's always been a fucking piece of shit, and that he never amounted to anything in life the way that her dad did, and that, you know, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but it's like this whole thing about how he feels bad that he never achieved his, I don't know, destiny in life, or like whatever, the way that his brother did, and he wants Eleanor to let his brother know that he's like proud of him or whatever.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Eleanor! Miss Crane!
Eleanor. Have you not seen a werewolf movie before? The second you decide not to kill that son of a bitch, he's gonna get out and he's gonna kill somebody. Or he's gonna kill you. She goes outside crying, and the Romani boy's like, what the fuck, dude? I didn't hear a single fucking gunshot. I don't see any of the cops fucking chasing you. Like, did you even fucking do it? But then that little bitch has the nerve to be like, don't feel bad. We couldn't fucking shoot your uncle either. As if, like, he would have the same fucking internal stress about shooting this guy as she would. I mean, I know shooting a guy is, like, no bueno regardless, but I feel like it's probably even harder for her since that's her uncle.
Stay back! My uncle!
That night, the moon rises and Peter starts feeling a bit unusual in his cell.
'Cause every time we touch, I get this feeling, and every time we kiss, I swear I could fly.
The cops start blasting that poor puppy man's ass with bullets, but they don't do anything, and he just like breaks out and runs off to the woods. Eleanor hears him howling in the distance, and she pulls out that gun like, oh shit, oh fuck, oh shit. She loads the silver bullets in it as he runs closer to the house. He then like breaks in her window and starts chasing her through the house. She drops the gun, but manages to narrowly escape thanks to the fact that werewolves can't do a fucking thing about a blanket, dude. She keeps running and hiding, and he's chasing her. He's trying to find her. He's having very little success, though. And then they finally meet in the kitchen. And then he fucking chases her more. And then we get the classic, like, please, remember me. Remember who I am.
Please. Uncle Peter, these are silver bullets. Please don't make me kill you. It's me.
Look at this photograph.
Then she shoots the son of a bitch 3 times. Pop, pop, pop. And it's over for poor old Peter Kranek over there. She gets down and holds his furry hand and watches as death takes over his transforming flesh.
Uncle Peter.
This was my destiny. To be a thing of wonder and terror. And then to die. Do not cry. Do not be sad for me.
So I guess she doesn't need to tell her dad now that Uncle Peter was a piece of shit who didn't achieve his destiny, because he did, in fact, achieve his destiny. Okay. The next day or sometime, I don't know, she's brought to the train station by the inspector, and he tells her that he's already contacted her mom in Geneva and that she can get on this train and meet them over there and everything's all hunky-dory. And then he throws in this whole like, oh, and by the way, dude, I just like told her that he was kind of shot in an accident. Bruh. Us cops, we're not gonna file like a whole police report about this whole like werewolf shit, because I want to keep my job, dude, and people are gonna think I'm fucking crazy. He then tells her that Peter was like one of his dearest friends, and his biggest regret was that he didn't listen to him better. And it's like, dude, you were so fucking stoked to tell him that sick ass line about how he was gonna be killed or whatever. It's like, if that's your closest friend, how the fuck do you talk to people you don't like? Jesus Christ, bro. After he leaves, the Romani guy shows up with his grandma, and they're like, Eleanor, you did such a good job shooting that motherfucker, dude. Hell yeah. And then we get the weirdest, longest shot of her just like waiting for a train. Like, here's the unedited shot. And that's it. That's The Werewolf Reborn. Yeah, that movie's kind of weird. I don't think it's as like ridiculous as Frankenstein Reborn. I feel like it's a lot more to the point. It moves a lot quicker. There's not so much fucking like what the fuck is happening as that movie had. But it's still, you know, I mean, it's a low budget kids werewolf movie. It's not very good. but it's a fun watch. And if you guys have a chance to watch it, why not? I say watch The Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr. Watch this one. Watch The Wolfman from 2010, and then you'll be all caught up. And you'll be ready to watch this Wolfman that comes out January 17th, 2025. By the way, this video is not sponsored by that at all. I'm just a Wolfman fanboy, and I'm kind of excited for this movie, and I hope it's good. So I'm just like talking about it. But anyway, guys, that's all I have for today. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. I would love to keep making videos like this. I have a blast doing this shit. I really appreciate all of the support you guys have given me so far as I've gotten back into this whole YouTube thing. I'm having a blast. I'm loving it. So if you guys could reciprocate that love by hitting the subscribe button, liking this video, leaving a comment, that would be super sick. And don't forget about my awesome coupon code POOPOOPP at w.gg. Order yourself some energy drink, and I'll talk to you guys later. Tell your boyfriend if he's got beef that I'm a vegetarian and I ain't fucking scared of him.